name's McLaughlin. We flew in from Hong Kong, so I'm just getting over my jet lag literally this morning, so bear with me a little bit. I want to ask some questions of you guys because we do this all over the world. I've probably been to 25 IoT meetups in various cities, pretty much on all the different continents. It's very interesting to see the dynamics of every single city. So I have to figure out who you guys are first. We have one of my great partners, also from Hong Kong, the Mills, are going to tell you a little bit about their project. So the wearables in the back might be interesting, or anyone else working, like obviously you guys are already chatting. But tell me a little bit, I'm going to have a quick round robin here. I just want to get a sense of two main things, other than, I mean, it's Tuesday and you wanted just to come out to do this. Why are you here? So was it the topic? Is it you just love coming out? And also, what are you doing right now? Just so we can get a sense. So I'm going to start here. And if you guys, if you don't want to talk fair, but it'd be really helpful, if you just give me 2 seconds.
So a summary of what you're looking for, a lot of us is.
So why you came tonight? Was it the topic or just Tuesday to do this? Or, and also what are you working on?
Well, I like supporting the IoT meetup here, to come regularly to the meetup events. I am very interested in China and China makers. The topic with fabric and wearables and stuff is very interesting. I haven't involved myself in that topic before, so I want to learn. And I'm I have a startup as well, which uses IoT, so if we ever get into the manufacturing side of things,
Is this the product?
Yeah, it's a demonstration.
What's the 2-second version?
Well, we make industrial IoT devices and partnering with non-Mercury. We have demos here at the tech shop. One of our demos is this oxygen meter here. We detect if the welding shop, you go back to the welding shop there, you can see this up on the wall. If the oxygen, if the argon in the tanks of the welders get out into the atmosphere, you can't breathe anymore. You won't even know. They'll just fall down, pass out. So we have an oxygen monitor, and because argon's heavier than air, we have it near the floor, but we have this up near the top, and we monitor the oxygen. If it goes below a certain level, it'll give a text message, it'll alarm here, it'll give a text message, and we also have a battery backup. Give us a 12-hour battery just, for extra safety precautions. So this is one example. I make these devices for industry. We make custom devices for industry for their problems. A lot of what we're trying to do is focus on predictive maintenance. For instance, you got a motor that's critical to your operations. You're just-in-time manufacturer. I can monitor the sound, the current, the vibration, and the one other thing, the temperature and stuff like that. So I'll take all that to the cloud using IoT and determine, okay, this is performing well, or this is starting to degrade, and send you a text message or communicate otherwise to alert you that your system needs to be looked at. So that's what we're working with local industry and stuff. 2 minutes.
That's great.
Because I'm looking at designing my own product. Probably going to involve maybe manufacturing, and China's probably going to be the place to go for it.
So something that's large volume.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Met Jeremy Kareem on Saturday, and we're very, very focused on finding a fastener supplier for our women's activewear product. And we've spoken with him since.
So I work on Android internals, and recently Android came out with Android Things, which is an IoT platform, and so I've gotten really into that. My wife teaches sewing, knitting, and crocheting, other needle arts in a workshop on her property, and I'm trying to figure out if I can mix IoT and her stuff. So once in our lives we could be on the same page.
They're in the electronic manufacturing space.
Okay.
So, anyways, we're about to start something here in about a month. And so this is China. Got to kind of be more educated into the market and IoT and all that. So that's why.
So my day job is cybersecurity for network firewalls, and so I'm both looking to help better secure IoT devices and wanting to connect with people and just better understand what their needs are. I don't have anything to sell yet, but just really want to understand what people are and what they need as far as IoT security goes.
A lot of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
I work in IT, software developer, and I'm interested in IoT. I did something for my son's project and I got interested in Raspberry Pi and And surprisingly, I have a textile background. I work in core textile, so it shows me how much count it is I get and how much count it is there. So it all came to me.
Nice. Thank you.
I'm an IT consultant, so interested in IoT domain. To learn new technologies and trends and keep up with the technology. So I joined this IoT Meetup to gain more knowledge.
Is this your first time?
No, I have been a couple of times.
Asking your follow-up question.
So my name is Tim. I'm a retired engineer, been retired for about 5 years now.
What type of engineer?
Before that, I worked for Motorola for about 40 years. And my interest is in, of course, IoT. And this is my first link up with this group. We're from Boston about a year ago.
Hi, I'm also a IT consultant, basically on the cloud side. So we want to see where the IoT fits into the cloud. We're interested about the IoT sandbox, right, development systems.
Hi, I'm Chintan. I work in the telecom domain, and it happens that the project he's talking about, planning to do it together. So just stepping in and seeing what we can do.
Nice t-shirt.
My name is Grayson, and I do embedded systems, custom chips, not so popular anymore, but embedded systems, things like that. I'm an Aggie engineer from A&M. I'm an Aggie.
An Aggie.
An Aggie engineer, yes. And my kind of specialty is radio and RF. If it computes, then it should communicate RF. So slap an antenna on it.
Hey, I'm Nitin. I'm a semiconductor design engineer, and IoT is a field of interest for me. And I also wanted to understand a bit more about the whole manufacturing in China and what's the big thing about it. And interested in IoT wearables and all. So this was a good place to be.
Hey, good evening. My name is Rob. I do telecom and cloud consultancy and brokerage. I help a lot of the IoT companies park in the right cloud and make sure they have the network that can empower all the IoT things that need to happen. And I'm also interested, I have a couple of products that I import from China and interested in IoT in general, so here to learn. Nice to meet you guys.
Good guy to know. There's a lot of sandboxes to play in these days.
Yeah.
My name is Bahadur. I'm a software architect actually, but I worked more than 10 years for device management actually, remote device management and so on, different protocols. So IoT is just sort of interesting.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mobile device management and moving into IoT device management.
Okay, cool.
I'm Radhika, working at GM in the connected cars team. Just I want to know the significance about the IoT. This is my first meetup.
So this is my first meetup. Actually, I'm here more to actually get to find folks locally since I'm pretty much global. And we have an industrial design firm that does fashionable wearables. And in addition, I shared with you my sort of day job is running an industry org for wireless power, which connects me to a lot of folks who like chip companies. I'm an ex-telecom guy out of Intel for 12 years doing 4G.
So, my name's Jennifer. I moved here from New York, and before I lived in LA. I'm a jewelry designer. I also design wearable tech and make specifically like jewelry is my focus, and I like to make it really beautiful. This is an example of something I designed. You would never guess it has tech inside.
Cool.
Yeah.
What does it do?
It's like a Fitbit on crack.
It looks too beautiful.
Yeah. Does it last longer than a normal Fitbit band?
Yeah. It doesn't smell.
Oh, okay. It lasts more than 4 months. Right?
Or the average crackhead.
I think you got something.
Very nice. Thank you, Jennifer.
Go ahead, please.
My name is Dave Brixius. Obviously, I'm the organizer of Austin IoT. My day job is I'm a lamp stack software engineer for a logistics company in the oil and gas industry. For 3 years, they've been saying they want to start doing more IoT projects, but not one has come to light yet. But I started Austin IoT in June 2014. My goal then remains the same today. My dream and my vision for this group is that one night the right 4 people are going to be sitting together drinking a beer, and out of that meeting the next Dell or Apple computers is going to be born. And they're going to take everyone in the room with, so let's make that happen.
Some more beers to be back.
Yeah.
You had me at beer.
I'm Dan Vogler with the Corporation of Things, and I've got 3 different projects going on.
We can hear one of them.
Yeah, sorry about that. The bank saying there's a security alert.
Sorry.
One of them is a add-on radio which goes in the CAN port of the car. I've changed platforms on that, so the project's been delayed. The other's a smart grid IoT small board computer to go inside a conduit box, and it has a instrumentation package for electricity, amps, volts, watts, watt hours, frequency, phase angle, 4 channels in and 4 relays out between 5 volts and 600 volts AC or DC. The idea there is that it can deal with anything in the realm of electricity. And then the thing that's coming to market on an Indiegogo campaign in less than 30 days is my level 2 EV charging system for electric cars, and it uses the same small board computer chain. I'm going to point to it real quick because I talked about it 2 months ago, and this is kind of significant, I think, for all of us. Even though I touted these bricks as ready-to-go computers, in terms of a final product, I'm really have fallen in love with first the ESP8266, the Adreno clone, and now the new ESP32, which was announced some months ago, but it's actually been shipping in quantity in less than 60 days, and I just got mine. That's a little development board on a 38-pin header with all the I/O coming out, and of course Bluetooth and Wi-Fi on a FCC certified CAN. And then on this surface mount package is the actual ESP32 radio that you could surface mount on something even smaller if you don't need the breakout board. So the neat thing about these is, unlike the Adreno, which is 16 megahertz, and the 8266, which is 80 megahertz, these are 240 megahertz and Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, so it's fairly complete. Those are an amazing $3.95. Wow. I think that is the maximum power cost ratio in an IoT solution that is brand new to the market. I think it's going to change the maker space severely, this device.
What's the company? What's the product name?
ESP32.
Expressive, EXPREIFF. Expressive is the company.
And the neat thing about it is it runs this whole world of many years and gigabytes of Adreno open source code. So you just set that in the Adreno target of the ESP32, which is now supported in the latest version, and God, it saves so much time.
Would you like to?
What
Do you want to know?
Why are you here?
I'm looking for the intranet of things.
It's here.
Is this the internet of things, or
Yes.
is this the intranet?
Ah, got it. Thank you.
I'm Meetup. I'm also in physics department of UT. Just kind of want to explore the opportunity in industry, so augmented reality or Internet of Things. So I've been kind of attending this meetup regularly.
Is that everyone? Skip sign. So, thank you guys for telling us that, all of you. It's really important. I'll give you a little bit of my background, and I really want to make sure that we have the Mills introduce their really awesome project that they're now going all over the US to talk about. So I'll hook up if there needs to be a presentation later, but I'll just talk to you now. So my company is called Brink.io, C, B-R-I-N-C. We started 2.5 years ago. We're in Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, China. We also have an office in London, and we're announcing our regional headquarters in Bahrain in the Middle East in a couple of weeks. We've realized, at least our vision, from all of our backgrounds, we've had over 75 years of doing business in China. I was 10 years in the Valley, working at Apple and VCs and helping build startup companies, is that the world is going to be incredibly connected. I always ask people that when people kind of tell us that, or you guys know these people, right? When people tell you like, oh, like it's never going to be like that, it sounds like science fiction. I think it's very clear that every object on Earth at some point is going to get connected. And I think that's why I wanted to know from you guys is, what's your vision? Why are you here? Why are you trying to learn about this? Because you're all going to play a different role in this, and it's going to change profoundly how we interact with the physical world as humans, fundamentally. So we have accelerator programs. So we've done a global acceleration that's remote. We've had locations in Hong Kong, and we also have verticals now. Our first main vertical is drone technology. So we've been doing a drone program remotely, and now in Barcelona, in Spain. Done some really interesting technologies in drones. I had no idea how far all this has really come so quickly. We then have our product design and development and manufacturing studio in China. So a lot of you that want to talk about manufacturing in China would be happy to talk about that. We've worked on everything from really stupid products that have no connectivity, all the way to nanoparticle technology coming out of Russia that's patented and doing really crazy stuff. So happy to chat about China. And then on the other side, for any of you guys that have ever launched a product, that's where it really, the rubber meets the road. You have to ship that product and you have to find a way to drive sales. So I'd be very interested in having that conversation because these 3 steps are what kill physical companies. So you guys are very technical, just gonna give you that feedback. So you look at all the different groups I've been around the world, all the IoT meetups. We're gonna be in San Francisco in an IoT meetup next week. I promise you it's not as technical as this room, by a long shot. Like, you usually find a lot more people in business, marketing, and sales. This is awesome. So maybe that's one kind of thing we can do is connect those communities together more remotely because you guys have some crazy depth compared to a lot of the meetups I've been to. Also, London can use your help. So I think it's really, really cool. Our goal in life is just to help people like yourselves, people that have ideas, help connect the physical world. That's it. And sometimes we do it through acceleration, sometimes we do it through helping manufacture, develop the product, and sometimes we do that through helping shipping, doing sales, and distribution, because all those things are critical when you're building a business. So I think on the maker side, that's obviously super local, really awesome. We're certainly looking more on the commercialization side, and that's kind of where we're coming from, flying in from Hong Kong, is we're obviously always looking to partner with great groups. They're going to talk about what they're doing with textiles and more the material side. For us, we're that horizontal, so we can work with any product that's connected. So we don't really have a vertical focus. Over half of our companies right now are in health technologies, so wearable technology, something that has to do with your body. But then we launched this drone program as a way to evaluate the kind of current status of where drone technology is and where it is as a service platform, kind of like our phones. But we'll also announce others in the future, which we're already working on. I'm going to turn it over because I think what would be best use of our time is let them go and announce their product, their project, and their program all in Hong Kong. And then I would love to open it up and do a little bit more Q&A with you guys because you guys are all very doing different things. So me giving a presentation is probably going to be a waste of our time versus getting an engagement with you guys and just having a chat because I can kind of spitfire with you guys and go over different topics. But why don't I turn it over to
Thank
the
you.
ladies at the Mills, and we can announce their project.
Hello everyone. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then I'll have Corinne speak a little bit about her background, and then we'll go into our short presentation. My name is Cherry Chan. I came from Hong Kong. I'm not technical, so I've learned a lot to learn from you. The only thing I saw in tech shop that I could identify is the quilting machine. That is a computerized sewing machine, because before working with the Mills, which started about 2 years ago, I was in what I call the dirty end of the fashion business. I worked with my family business. I ran it for over 14 years. We have 2 factories in China, sewing and knitting fashion accessories, including handbags, scarves, co-weather knits that you would find in the likes of Gap, Old Navy, and Taylor, etc. So that's my background. I was also a management consultant with McKinsey before that, and I've also worked in PR and entertainment. So that's my personal background. I really look forward to connecting with all of you, especially with the ones who have an immediate interest in fashion tech and wearables. I think that's the vertical that we are focusing on at the Mills.
Hi, my name is Corinne. I moved to Hong Kong about 15 years ago, and I work with brands on product development, communication, and business development. So I am the one who helps the startup that we incubate. We'll talk about that later, to basically help them build their success stories.
Okay, great. So we'll move quickly into this. Clearly not technical.
Crash.
What did we do? What do I need to do? I'm good?
Yeah.
Can we play?
Okay.
So this is a quick video of the events that we would run in Hong Kong. This is pitch day. So we had a contest of startups in the hashtag wearable space, and this is an excerpt of what happened. We have good press coverage in Hong Kong, and this was attended by media, industry suppliers, as well as investors. Welcome to the Mills Fabric Fair, Pitch Day 2016.
Guess who?
spinner in 1954. So the business is going on 63. We're no longer involved in anything related to textile. However, there are these three factory buildings that were left standing when they ceased production in 2008. And the company has remained family owned for these 60 odd years. And one of the third generation owners has decided to convert these buildings into something that faces the future. And hopefully will help us reimagine and revitalize the textile industry in Hong Kong. So the new focus, we call it the tech style focus, play on the words. So it's got something to do with technology, it's got something to do with style. And style includes textile, fashion, wearables, anything you would actually wear on. So it's about the legacy and the heritage of Hong Kong and of the business. So Fabrica in particular is the incubator and what we call the springboard. It's really a platform for the industry. We will incubate no more than 10 companies at a time, but we're very happy to help anybody in this space who has a promising business in wearable and fashion tech. We host events regularly to help connect, very similar to what you do here for the IoT community. We do it for the textile community in Hong Kong. So we want to become eventually a destination for this kind of new startups and for the new textile community in Hong Kong, also in the region. So if anybody in Austin or in any other countries, they want to go to China, and Hong Kong, I think, is a good entry into China that, it's English speaking, it's relatively easy to understand, and we want them to come to us. So what's good about Hong Kong? Why do you want to do business in Hong Kong? I think the official reasons is China market access. We have a transparent and pretty easy, simple legal and business systems. We can get Facebook. You cannot do that in China. I don't know if you knew that. There's actually quite a strong ecosystem coming up for startups. A lot of support from both angel investors as well as from government funding. We are financial centers, so there are a lot of investors around. And for anyone who wants to move, it's easy to get a work visa, and it's easy to find good talent. Unofficial reasons, that's not written up anywhere. It's a very good community, I think, for expats. The startup community in Hong Kong is officially half expats, so half local and half people from all over the world. We actually get a lot of Europeans, Koreans, French, and we get a lot of East Europeans also. The lifestyle is very good restaurants, very good bars, very good infrastructure. You never have to drive in Hong Kong, actually. We've got very good subway, Uber works, taxi works. There are minivans and other buses, they all work. Actually, driving is not a necessity, which is very different to life in Texas, I think. We get the beach and the hills within 30 minutes from the city. So I think these are the reasons, when we talk to expats who live in Hong Kong, these are the reasons that they love living in Hong Kong. So why textile? So this is where fashion textile meet technology. It's supposed to be a $1.7 trillion opportunity that is growing. Wearable technology is also, this in and of itself is $50 billion market. We see a lot of designers and retailers really looking to find ways to renew their business, to how do they work with technology. There's a lot of demand for that. There are a couple issues that we've already seen in the market that they're really looking for solutions. Fit is the reason that there is a lot of waste and a lot of inventory in the apparel industry. And we believe that fit can be solved with technology. So where we can figure this out, this is actually going to be a gold mine. Wastage is also a global issue. So if anybody can figure out how to recycle fabrics, especially fabrics that are blended, because actually most of our garments are blended fibers. Anybody can separate that and then recycle that and reduce the use of virgin materials in apparel production. I think the earth is going to love that, and businesses need to explore that. So a lot of people are looking at what we call closed-loop production. So we use the same materials to produce more garments. So we think there are just big opportunities across the entire value chain. So actually, fashion apparel is 50% the size of the healthcare industry. It's the same size as the energy sector, double the size of the film industry. So it's actually not a small industry. So what do we actually offer at the incubator? So we are opening, the building is under construction right now. We are actually opening in 2018, so we'll be open about 15 months from now. Right now we're running a pilot program without the physical space, so we connect with startups, we will have the space for them next year. So beyond that, we have business guidance, we have mentorship, we will take them to trade shows, we give them marketing, sales, promotional support, trainings, and most importantly, it's really the network, the supplier network, the investor network, and we also have a Fab Lab and a media studio. So I think the tech shop is quite inspirational for us. For us, we'll be focused on serving these startups. So we'll definitely have sewing machines, we will have computerized sewing machines, we might have some of the 3D printing, and some like simple soldering, because that's how Flash Tech comes together. So how are we different? I think we have a very good network, being a 63-year-old company in Hong Kong. We're one phone call away from all the major players in the region, including people who are in retail, people in the supply chain, and people in banking. We have a selected pool of mentors who offer insight in business strategy, product development, design, marketing, communication, sales, and business development. With the startups that we have met so far, we feel that these are the fields that they need most help in. So investment, we vet investment proposals of all companies that we incubate. We connect them to other investors, and we are actually also considering investing ourselves. We have not made the first investment, but we expect that to happen, I think, within 6 months. So I think another good thing is because we're an established corporation, being in our program is a validation for other investors. So just a few samples of what we have done. Oh, what happened? No, this is fine.
I think the projector.
Oh, the projector ran out.
We didn't
Okay,
blow a
I
light
will just-
bulb, did we?
I will just tell my story then. What have we done operationally? We have actually helped put a fashion brand in the opening ceremony. I don't know, Jennifer, you might be the only one in the room who knows. Anyone else knows who opening ceremony is? No. This is not the fashion crowd. So opening ceremony is actually one of the most respected independent stores based out of New York, and they have actually also make their own branded products, and they're sold internationally. They actually have quite a big presence also in Japan. We've been featured on CNN, and we've taken one of our startups with us on that program. And we have given advice on offline store building. Where do you go? How do you plan out a store? How do you put the POS together with the with the actual physical build out of the business? I think without the screen, this is probably a good time to turn over to sort of Q&A.
Yeah, I think he's gonna try to fix this, but
Okay.
It looks like it's
Maybe just overheated.
Oh, there we go. Here's,
Oh,
I think we may have found a remote, so we
There you
get the
go.
power, so.
That wasn't why you wanted.
There we go.
Ding ding.
Nice.
You're back on, Sherry.
I am, okay, rewind. So we are not looking for startups with the biggest payout without industry focus. We actually, we're very focused on textile because we consider this a give back to the textile industry that the company grew up with. So we're not blowing money with high level advice. We feel like we very much get our elbows dirty, quite grounded. So it's more than a standard curriculum in exchange of shares. So our goal is we hope to incubate 30 companies in the next 5 years. Hopefully they will have a average valuation of 15 mil upon graduation. And our goal is to have 100 mil company in the next 5 years. So just a sample of what we do events. We actually publish a quarterly magazine that's distributed in Hong Kong with a local newspaper. So that goes about, that's 10,000 copies every quarter, and pitch day we always have a video of. And actually all the materials we have are bilingual, so don't worry if you don't reach these. These are the companies that we are currently incubating. I'll just do a quick intro of who they are. TechHacker is really what we call PLM solution, Product Lifecycle Management. They are internet-based and they help fashion designers and factories communicate more effectively and therefore reduce the time that is needed to actually sample. Snaptee and Ionic are both mass customization online products. Snaptee does t-shirts, goes from your Instagram onto a t-shirt. And Ionic is where you can customize a mechanical watch online and then it will be delivered to you physically. Hulala is like the Farfetch, I would say, if you know Farfetch or Net-a-Porter of China. It's actually all Chinese language based, although the founders are both expats. They bring independent Asian brands to the Chinese market and support them with a lot of social media presence. If you've heard of WeChat, I think they can tell you more about WeChat. They actually also run all the WeChat accounts for the brands, which is a lot of value add for brands who want to do business in China. Ori is actually, Korean has a sample here, is a voice control ring that you can talk to Siri with.
I'll try it later.
Yeah, the Fabric Lab is not a typical startup per se. It sits in the space between art, design, and research and fabrics. One of the projects that the founder Elaine does is she goes to these remote villages in China, in Guizhou, where there's their unique weaving and printing crafts that will be lost if we don't modernize them. So one of the projects that she does is she goes to these villages and gives them projects that are actually related to daily design that you find in furniture, so that these crafts will not be lost over time. So this is really the end of the presentation. I look forward to talking more with you.
U.S. companies?
No, they are all Hong Kong based. I think one of the criteria of our program is we want, the companies don't have to be from Hong Kong, we want them to be in Hong Kong. So that's the reason we're in the US. We're looking for startups that are interested in building a meaningful base in Hong Kong. So it can still be headquartered.
There's a lot of
in
U.S. companies.
Yes. So if I think there are two big reasons I think people in China. One is for the production, the other is for the China market. And we can help you in both areas. Thank you.
So I'm gonna ask some questions, and I think what you did, I think I'm gonna put up some of the samples, so I think that's helpful to get a sense, but I want to question, who's been to China? Raise your hands. Okay, not bad. Who's been, if you didn't raise your hand, who's been to Asia?
Oh,
Okay, where else? Just yell it out.
so most of you have
Seoul,
been to Asia.
Europe, Middle East.
Middle East?
South America, Europe.
India.
You mean where in Asia?
Where in Asia? Like
Sure,
which
yeah,
countries?
anywhere in Asia?
Oh, anywhere in Asia.
Philippines?
Not Philippines.
And you said I heard Angkor Wat?
Taiwan.
Taiwan? Oh, okay. Korea?
Taiwan, Korea.
So, how often, just for fun, how often do people fly in from China or Hong Kong to present at this meetup?
First time
Once.
ever, huh?
No, not the
No?
first.
You're the third in a year.
The
Third?
third, really?
What are the other two?
I don't know, where's Dave? He would remember. It was an incubator from mainland China.
Oh, mainland Chinese.
And what was the?
Taiwan representative for China.
Yeah. I'm just gonna give you guys some super high level, because I think you guys may or may not have heard. These are the types of products that we've worked on so far. We have children's wearables. These are like specific sport wearables. It's a surfing wearable. Music, sleep tracking, medical adherence, audio algorithm technologies, connected standing desks, all timers devices. We have algorithms for fall detection that are 8 times better than the market standard. We have algorithms that help track or predict when you're going to have a cardiac event that are 89% accurate right now. like I told you guys earlier, we have drone program. We have drones that will fly over planes when they land and do all the on-site inspections before they're allowed to clear and to go fly again on the fly versus taking rulers and doing that. We have really a very horizontal focus. And the reason I want to tell you guys that, in case you're asking questions, like feel free to dig in as much as you'd like. Our goal, as you can tell from both of us, both of our presentations, is that we really are focused on commercialization. So I don't have my aeronautical engineers or my manufacturing engineers with me. We're going around the world as we talk to people to try to figure out where do you need help, what are you interested in, and is there a connection back to the PRD, you know, Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Guangzhou. Obviously, a lot of physical things are made there. So if there's anything that we can do to support you guys or answer any questions, we'd love to jump into that. We also have pizza coming, so we can have a chat and kind of break out a little bit. Pizza is coming.
First question.
Please.
I just heard you say you have a fall detection algorithm. So what technologies that algorithm is based on?
Right now it's a wearable, so it's going to be on an accelerometer. So it's tracking your gait. So it's for people that are either obviously older, people that are going through rehab, having had knee surgery, a hip replacement, whatever it might be, and recognizing the kind of preconditions to where people might fall. So it's the current competitors would be the thing that you're put around your mom or dad when they get older, and you put it on the little thing on your neck, right? But no one likes to wear that. Those are really, really inaccurate, like terribly. So I think we're almost 8 times better at this stage. But yeah, it's based on accelerometer as a base technology.
Okay. Oh, that's one.
Similar, yeah.
Okay. So you just say it's in 8 times better. So how many percentage the fall detection fall you detected?
You're saying the false positive?
Yes, the accuracy, I would say.
Accuracy is in the 80s right now.
80%?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I know there are some.
Usually it's about 12%. That's kind of where it's amazing how bad they are and how they haven't changed.
Right.
Yeah.
80% is perfect.
Well, it's not perfect.
Yeah, because I
80-20, close enough.
80-20? Okay.
Yeah.
I know there is such technology in the market, but the accuracy is very low.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a lot of false detection.
Yeah. Which would you have to pay for that ambulance to come every time?
Yeah, I would like to know if this algorithm is open source or something. No.
Probably not going to open source their IP.
Okay.
These are startups, so I think that's something that's very interesting. We see that all the time. Very rarely. I mean, when you're talking about building products as a startup, one of the only things you can defend, if anyone that raised their hand that's been in China, is your algorithm. That's almost all of it. And I'm sure you guys think about this all the time. Like, well, how do you protect stuff from China? The answer is when your website goes up, you can't.
Okay.
The second they can look at it, they're reverse engineering, if they want to, right? I get that question saying, oh, what are you going to do? Like, what if they copy it? It's like, if China's copying your stuff, that's usually a pretty damn good sign. Like, I mean, like if you're that interesting to that market, probably onto something.
So I've heard that they're actually trying to change that in China. There's actually been like the first IP lawsuits that have been filed, I guess within the last couple of months. Have you guys heard anything on that?
Well, on trademarks, there have been some ridiculous lawsuits.
But what about
so
patents?
I don't know about patents. Do you know anything about patents?
Well, I'm not going to talk. Obviously, it's been starting just in the last couple of months. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Okay.
All the data that I have shows that over 95% of filed lawsuits never get seen. They just never get looked at. They're just like, nope.
And the reason I asked that question is that I'm in that business kind of, and I've noticed that there have been some huge transactions of patents that have been acquired from some pretty big telecom companies in China by some patent trolls, actually. So I'm just wondering if that's kind of changing, because obviously.
So in other words, they wouldn't spend the money to buy these patents unless they felt that there's a real change in works there.
Because what's happening in the U.S., it's going the other way. Europe is now recognizing IP owners, China I think is trying to So I'm just thinking that maybe that could change it, so I don't know if you guys see that.
Well, it would be so early, right? That
Okay,
happened
it's probably pretty
Yeah,
early.
that happened in
Yeah.
the last couple of months. I mean,
Yeah.
I think the way you said it was actually probably the smartest thing, is you're trying to dissect what's happening in something somewhere in China, watch where the money goes.
Yeah.
So if all of a sudden the guys that are on the inside are starting to gobble up IP, clearly someone's told them something,
Yeah.
and they're
I
preparing
think
for
there's
something that
something
we're not
going
aware of, right? Yeah, so you see like Tencent and Ali and all these other guys like, you know, Didi or Xiaomi buying stuff, like follow that trail. That'll tell you something for sure. What other questions you guys have? Any questions about manufacturing?
So I'm just curious, the companies that are part of the consortia there, I see some really neat devices in there. Do they ever have concerns about kind of bill of materials costs to build these devices out? Do you guys help them out, or?
Yeah, actually, let's go over that really quickly. So
price
this
index?
is sort of our whole shtick. That's a good, I'm glad you brought that up. So this is kind of our shtick. So prototype to profit. At the end of the day, I came from the Valley. I was at Apple 6 years. I currently hold 32 different equity positions. I sit on various boards. I've been doing the startup thing for 12, 13 years now, so I love the game. But when I moved into the hardware space, that's where my brain went. So if you're chasing geometric returns like VCs do, building physical products, you're probably playing the wrong game. This is one of my favorite things we talked about is you have to be thoughtful about it. You can still make a great company whether you're selling 5 pieces a month or 500 or 5 million. It doesn't matter, but if you don't focus on making profit in the physical business, you're going to be spending so many VC dollars and have to fundraise constantly. It's a nightmare. And one of the things I gave in my talk, one of my mentors, you guys ever heard of Misfit wearables? So Sonny, the founder, is one of my mentors. He sold his wearable company for $300 million US. It's the largest acquisition of a wearable company in history. My other friend Eric, the founder of Pebble, just lost his whole company recently. Both sides of that spectrum, right? There's a lot of challenge in building these types of businesses. Sonny focused on making money. He went to China, went to Russia, was selling products all over the world. Whereas, you know, unfortunately, Eric did not chase that same kind of tail on Pebble, was working on the community of people that wanted to be hacking and developing and creating a cool community, but it never tipped as the business, unfortunately, which was, you know, not, you wish you could do both, right? It was really challenging for them. And then you have Fitbit on the other side that's shipping 6 million a quarter. You know, he shipped 2 million in 8 years. A little bit of a different scale. So, yep, go ahead.
Well, interestingly, Fitbit paid $23 million for what was left of Pebble's assets. So that doesn't sound like too bad of a wind down, $23 billion to walk away.
When you raised $45 million, and that 23 didn't even cover the debt on the books of the company, it doesn't work out for you. He literally was sleeping at my house 3 nights ago in Hong Kong. I promise you it didn't work out.
So he owes someone $22 million still.
Yeah, and so I want to just like throw a couple more things out there, the types of products. So this Simple Wearables is the company with the fall detection. HeartSense is the heart, the stroke detection. You saw the other ones. Pill adherence, connected standing desks, wearables for children. It's a 5-in-1 sensor from Samsung. Understands sweat, stress, activity, sleep, and temperature.
Dave, who was the standing disk?
Altizen.
Okay.
Yep. Just shipped their crowdfunding orders, manufacturing in Taiwan. Their idea is workspace health. So helping understand how often you should be standing versus sitting, making sure that's all automated. And now we're working at some computer vision into the next product to understand your posture. Because you start, like, even though you're standing, you might be slouching. So trying to understand how much and how often you should be standing. We have our drone accelerator program. I love drones. We can talk about that all night long. Like, I have a lot of fun in drones. And then we have companies that we work with, like this is a face mask, really big in China right now. Einsight, Evapolar is that nanotechnology I told you out of Russia that makes water and air conditioning without any chemicals. PowerMe is remote power grids in Africa. Anyways, we do all sorts of interesting projects. I just wanted to put some of them up there because it might jog some ideas or questions. But overall, every single one of these guys, what they have in common, even if we're just working in our studio, not taking equity in those companies, like someone talked about Bomb earlier, that's totally fine. You know, it doesn't matter to us, right? Like, we're here to empower all of the people that want to help create the new version of the world. And sometimes we'll do that through joining an accelerator program. Sometimes we'll do that by doing bomb validation or cost downs in China, or all the way up to mass manufacturing oversight, no big deal, or VAT, like we do lots of VAT deals. So if you have an idea of a product that you think might work here in America, and you want to skin it, put your logo on it, do something to do value-added trading, there's a lot of the products that you guys probably know about. When you're trying to think about testing that product, you don't necessarily have to go through a custom R&D process. Just for fun, who here has AliExpress on their phone right now? I knew you would. The reason I ask is, I'm being really nice, I'm usually a lot more like to the point. Anytime you have an idea, search Ali immediately, every single time. Like, if you have an idea ever, and you don't search Alibaba, like 2 seconds later, you're looking in the wrong place. Like, don't look on eBay, don't look at, like, that's not, like, you have to search their platform, and then you'll probably find, you know, it's usually kind of demoralizing. Like, you have this idea, and you find out there's like 38 of that, and they're in every color, and you're like, oh. But it doesn't mean that you can't do something with that. There's a lot of people, probably something that you do too, like a lot of people take stuff they find, like one of my friends has this company in Toronto called Tiny Trend Center. They're probably something you guys should talk to. So they take stuff from China and they repackage it on Instagram and Facebook and sell it to Toronto moms like a 12x markup, and all they do is like nothing. Like, they just take a photo and put it online, but they're sourcing stuff from China and giving it to a new market. We're actually seeing that happen a lot more, sourcing from China and then putting it on eBay or putting it on Etsy, and they're making a really awesome market. So I always like to tell people if they're like kind of getting their toes wet and they're not sure what to do with China, it's actually a really interesting way at a low risk to kind of source some products and get a sense. Also, if you have an idea of a custom product you want to make, start building on the building blocks of someone else that's already 80% of the way there. Maybe you want to add one more sensor. Maybe you want to add a bit of a different color or a fit and finish or material, whatever it is. But you can really piggyback on a lot of work that people have already done to get started. In terms of, who asked the bill of material question? Sorry. Perfect. So this is the biggest challenge. If you go on Alibaba, you go on DigiKey, or wherever else you guys are looking for stuff, you're going to be finding the middleman pricing for those supplies. So we really love helping teams help find the real supplier and the alternatives for that to make sure you have the right price. So who, just for fun, it doesn't seem like a lot of people, but who here is going to plan to go through that kind of, I'm going to build the company, I have already know what I'm making, I'm ready to kind of raise investment and try to go. Is anyone in that position right now? Couple? Perfect. So all those assumptions you make about those prices, like maybe you have relationships in China, but most of your assumptions are based on a lot of middleman nonsense. And so the actual financial model that you're building, we also have a free one that we're giving away to the whole hardware community that we're announcing next quarter, so we'd love if you guys want to try to play with those numbers. It's based on a lot of assumptions. And when you go to a crowdfund or when you go to sell at any scale, you're usually built on a lot of middleman kind of markups, and you generally aren't even talking to the actual supplier. You're talking to the mill provider or trader, somewhere in that scheme. So we try to make sure that teams, when they are ready to actually get that or have alternative backup plans, we're doing our very best to get you guys the original suppliers in China to make sure you have the right price. Any other questions?
So I apologize, I had to step up for a quick call. Then in terms of once you're at full production, do you guys also help with, you know, deployment and getting stuff
so
out
our
into the
supply chain,
supply chain?
Our China side, we do on purpose as end-to-end as possible. So we'll do early risk analysis, which will allow teams to go through the exact kind of early decision process of whether they should or should not be doing that product. So it's an engineering kind of risk analysis. So we do that at a really low fixed fee to say, hey, let's look end-to-end of how we're going to manufacture, work backwards. Because sometimes you might go, I can make it on Arduino, I can use the Arctic platform, I can work with Spark platform, I can use all these kind of, you know, easy kind of computers in a box, and I can make this, right? But then you actually figure out the end application is not even remotely close. Like, you would never manufacture with that, you would never do it like that. So we want to make sure that when people are going through the evaluation, if you don't know yourself, we can have our team look all the way to the end and come back and let you know. Then we go all the way through the hardware discovery, or PRD, the product requirements definition documentation. That's what you give to the R&D providers. And if you don't have them, we'll bring them to the table. So that's the ID, MDE firmware, and we integrate that pack. Most times they're multiple groups. And then we'll all the way go do the manufacturing too. So we'll source those factories, do the negotiations, contract translations, and CM oversight. So we don't mind, it's what you want to do. Like, we have to break that up into services that make sense and make sense for the pricing of startups, obviously. But the goal for us is to get people through that successfully and de-risk that process, because you coming out that other end and being able to ship a product is the point. And most teams get killed in that middle part.
Yeah.
Right? So we don't always work with teams on our distribution side. What we like to see is you have an idea, and maybe we miss you or we don't work together on the accelerator. And then we help you make sure that you get the manufacturing done right for that whole process. So our distribution teams can pick you up and say, I've got a buyer in the Middle East, I've got a buyer in Europe, I have a buyer in Asia. But if you can't get through that successfully, then you won't be able to sustain the order demand anyways, even if you found a buyer.
And then do you hold the hand all the way to, okay, we're ready to ship our first pallets or our first container?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely,
going to,
absolutely. Like
okay.
we're very similar in ethos. That's why we found a partnership with the mills and
Okay.
McLaughlin, is that we want to be end to end.
All the way.
Our first programs, I'm not kidding, it didn't work. Oh, it worked, but I wouldn't do it again. Is that we started out our first accelerator as endless, like they're years long for an accelerator program, and we just said forever, and that was our first process. Because we just kept thinking, like, why are we gonna, because we're all self-funded, so it's like, I'm not gonna put my money into a company and just go, cool, this guy, this girl, great idea, like, here's $100,000 and I hope you do well.
Right.
Like, hell no, I'm not giving you $100,000 if, like, I don't know where it's going.
Right.
So we at first made them move to Hong Kong, we're sitting on top of them, watching them every day, and going through the problems with them. But now we've done that for 2.5 years, over 40 companies we've played with, like, worked on different sides. I now have a pretty good sense of how it works. We call it our internal firmware, because when we upgrade, all of our portfolio goes with us. So we look a little bit of a different model, like we don't chuck a check and see what happens. It's cool, you made a mistake, no one's ever gonna make that mistake ever again. Like, because obviously it makes more sense, we're very hands-on, but we've now broken it down and we have a remote program, so if anyone you know is interested, we think we're pretty good at this now. We'll have something like, I think it's like 1,200 steps or something documented of how you build these companies. So when you come and join us, we can give a tailored curriculum to you and say, cool, you're here, you want to be here, got it. And then we can design a tailored curriculum with you that can sit over the engineering, the customer discovery and development, the launching, the distribution, like wherever you are.
So I was wondering about your business model. I understand taking equity in companies, but it sounds like that's only part of what you do. Is
Correct.
a set of services that you provide for companies for charge? Is that the
Yeah, so we
other
have
part of it?
three distinct business models: our accelerators for equity, our studio services company, and then our distribution, which right now is based on success. We've done everything from trade financing for inventory, because one of my co-founders has been in China for 40 years, has a lot of debt available. So if someone says, hey, I've got Best Buy, I've got whatever else, and they can't go to the bank and get money, we can triangulate that. But there are three distinct business models that survive separately, but teams do seamlessly go through if they'd like to, but it's up to them where they join. Thanks. Do people want pizza? We can talk more. Yes. Why don't we do some pizza and then we can settle it and have some chat. I also want to make sure that you guys can talk and chat with the groups that want to do wearables or whatever have you. If you guys want to, we can do more like this, or we can also chat informally. I'll just say one quick thing before we break from this is, I told you this earlier, I have gone all over the world doing these meetups, and I would really, really stress that this is one of the most technical groups I've met, and that's awesome. And I think that there should be some way that, I don't know how you do this, like with connecting with other groups, but you don't have to be physically together to make combination products. We work all over the planet, on all the time zones, all the time. And it might, you're gonna have to stay up late, wake up early, what have you, but I think there's a lot of talent in this room that could benefit a lot of the other meetup groups that I've seen around the world that would probably die to have some of the brain power and horsepower you guys have in this room. So maybe just think a little bit outside of the geographic box there and see how you can connect. I'm happy to connect. Do we get connected through Linda?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, so she has like the IoT like conglomerate she's created or something.
Oh, absolutely. We're always looking for ways to grow and expand. So through your travels if you encounter any such
Well, there's
opportunities.
also, I mean, literally, we're gonna go to San Francisco next week, and I can promise you, I'm gonna have a room of software people and marketing and sales guys and girls, and I think on this side, you guys would be a great partnership for those groups. I don't know if you travel very much, but I think you can do this remotely. So just think maybe outside of the Austin.
Oh, absolutely. Feel free to put them in touch with me.
Yeah, happy to. Why don't we get some pizza and I can chat individually or more as a group, or do you guys want to stay like this? I don't care.
I have 2 door prizes more to give away, 2 more
More
real
trivia.
fast.
More
More
trivia.
trivia questions.
Why don't you hit us with one?
Okay. What company owns ARM, Sprint, and what's left of Radio Shack?
SoftBank.
Well, you already won, so you're disqualified. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to give you your choice. Do you want the VR headset or a 16 gig thumb drive?
I'll do
Which-
16 gig.
More usable? Okay.
My kids will probably.
Okay, what are the questions and answers? We just skip. What are the questions? I came to know that. What is the answer?
SoftBank.
Oh, SoftBank. Oh.
SoftBank. Is it,
Yeah, the bank that
Moshi
recently
shop.
acquired. Yeah, recently acquired.
a billionaire out of Japan. And it's kind of sad because we all have history with Radio Shack as a makerspace. It is gone for good. They're going to keep 250 stores, which will be strictly Sprint cell phone stores. So all of the parts drawers at the Radio Shack, if you can find one that's still open, are 80% off. I bought $200 worth of potentiometers and stuff last week.
Are there stores still
There's a few left open.
in Lamar, Farmer, Lamar?
Yeah, there's 3 stores left open.
Opposite of Radio Shack.
Okay.
There was a one Radio Shack.
Yeah, the one
Opposite of Prime.
at HEB.
Okay, I got one more question. What did the words Hong Kong mean, literally? What's the translation? You guys are disqualified.
Someone's gonna get this, come on.
A quote with
Harbor?
Fragrant Harbor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dan.